Doja was an average office worker whose sole interest was reading his favorite web novel, 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse. But when the novel suddenly becomes reality, he is the one person who knows how the world will end. Armed with this realization, Doja uses his understanding to change the course of the story and the world as he knows it. The story begins with the protagonist reading his favorite novel ending, The 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse. The novel concludes with everything becoming unclear, but the reader of this novel would survive. Doja, after reading the whole story, gets a notice saying this is the last episode. He remains surprised if it ended just like that. He frantically tries to scroll down to see if there's at least something more, but there isn't. He rests his thumb and thinks this is it. This is the end. The protagonist introduces himself as Kim Doja, since Doja meant only child in Korean, so he had a hard time introducing himself to others. Out of 10, 9 people misunderstood him. They asked if he's the only child. Doja agreed that he's kind of an only child. But that wasn't what he meant. He had to show his employee ID to clear the misunderstanding that his name was, in fact, Doja Kim. His father gave him this name because he wanted him to grow up to be a strong and independent person. He wonders if his name is a curse or something, because he has been lonely and single his entire life. This is who our protagonist is, age 28, graduated from a third-rate college, and currently employed as a contractor in a large corporation. His hobby is reading serialized web novels on the subway while heading home from work. However, he feels that today's ride is different from others. As Doja was getting fixated on his phone, a woman says that he might get sucked into it at this rate. Doja looks up and sees Sangha Yu from the same company, working in the HR department. Seeing her up close, Doja says hello. Yu asks if he's heading home. Doja nervously replies that he is and asks what about her. Yu casually sits beside Doja, and our boy gets a bit nervous. Yu says that her team manager is away on a business trip, so she got lucky today. Doja feels delighted sitting next to her, and he can't believe that his luck is so good that he ran into the most popular girl at work. On top of that, her shampoo smells nice. Doja asks if she usually takes the subway home. Deep down, Doja also thinks that there would be a line of men waiting to drive her home, so it's quite unusual to see her here. Yu sighs and says that someone stole her bike. Doja curiously asks if she commutes to work on a bike. Yu agrees and says that she has been working a lot of overtime lately, so she thought about cycling to get some exercise. Even after going through many difficulties in her life, Yu smiles brightly. Doja looks at her and understands why guys are head over heels for her. However, none of that concerns him right now as they both live completely different lives. This wasn't the only reason that today's ride was different. Doja becomes more baffled when he sees Yu studying Spanish on her phone. He can't believe that people study on the subway and considers her to be of a completely different breed. Doja compliments her and says that she's studying hard. Yu peeks at Doja's phone and asks what he's reading. Doja moves his phone away and thinks that he can't show her this. On the other side, Yu becomes more curious about him. Yu tries to guess if it's a novel, and Doja somewhat agrees to it. Yu brightens up and says that she loves novels. She then goes on to list her favorite authors, and asks Doja what his favorite author is. Doja becomes nervous and replies that she won't know even if he told her that. He thinks that his hobby is to read serialized web novels on the subway while heading home. Although he's not proud of his hobby. But today is a special day for him. And that's because the novel 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, which he has been reading for the past 10 years, is coming to an end today. People might wonder why he's making such a fuss over the ending of the web novel, but this story is quite special to him. He has been reading this series since he was in 8th grade. He read it when he was getting bullied at school. He read it when he failed the entrance exam and ended up at a third-rate college. He read it when his bad luck got him stationed on the front line during his mandatory military service. He's reading it even now while working as an unstable employee, getting juggled from company to company. He wonders what the point of doing all of this is. He finds it sad and sweet that the fictitious world he has been following for so many years is now coming to an end. Today will be the day when the epilogue will be uploaded. This novel consists of 3,149 episodes, and it took a 10-year-long journey which began in his late teens and is now ending in his adulthood. He can't believe that this series went for so long with an average view count of 1. The first chapter had around 1,200 views, but by chapter 10, there were only about 20 views. and then it dropped to 12 by chapter 50. And now, he's the only one reading it. It was a story written for him and him only. He wanted to support the author with a donation, but it's hard enough for him to make ends meet. So, he decided to thank the author by writing a comment. He tried recommending the series to others, but they all criticized him, saying he must be an attention seeker. He believes that it's a great series if one is able to bear through it. He thinks that people are so cruel these days. Yu tries calling Doja while he was busy in his daydreams. Eventually, their eyes met, and Doja became nervous. He thinks about changing the topic and says that they started working at the same company about a year ago. He thinks that time flies by quickly. Yu also chimes in and says that they had no idea what they were getting into back then. Doja also agrees and says things seem to be yesterday. He can't believe that their contracts are ending soon. It was at this moment, Doja remembers that he messed up. He forgot that Yu was promoted to full-time employee last month due to her diligence. Before Yu could say anything, Doja apologizes to her and congratulates her as well. He says he should have learned a foreign language too. Yu replies that it's fine. She hasn't completed her performance assessment yet. Doja thinks that Yu is so cool. If she were a character in a novel, she would have become a heroine. The result was obvious as Yu gave her all while he kept reading web novels. So, Yu became a full-time employee while he didn't. Yu calls out to Doja and says that she could tell him the name of the app she uses. At this moment, Doja thinks that if he were in a different genre, if his genre had been fantasy instead of non-fiction, then could he have become the protagonist? Doja tells Yu that it's okay. He says it won't matter if she told him the name of the app or not. Deep down, Doja thinks that his genre of life is non-fiction, and in this genre he's no protagonist, but merely a reader. Doja tells Yu that he has to live his own life. Yu asks if he wants to live his own life. She tells Doja that he's so inspiring, and our boy remains puzzled as to what she means. Yu says that she should also live her own life, and Doja could do nothing but smile at her. Yu says that she'll do her best to live her life to the fullest like him. Doja thinks that this much has at least stopped her from talking. Suddenly, Doja's phone buzzes, and he wonders if it's a message. He sees the message saying thank you. He carefully reads the username and wonders if this is from the author of TWSA. He quickly replies to the author, asking if that's really him. The author replies that he was able to finish his story thanks to him. Plus, he won a prize in a contest as well. Doja confirms that he's truly the author of TWSA, and wonders when the novel was in a contest. Doja congratulates the author and asks what kind of contest it was. The author replies that it's not a big contest, so he wouldn't have heard of it. He also notifies Doja that the series will become paid content soon. After the epilogue is dropped, TWSA will become paid content. The author also notifies him of a special present he would like to give him as the sole reader of the novel. For that, he asks Doja for his email. The future Doja thinks that he didn't know what was about to happen to this world. He asks the author about what present, and the author replies that he was able to publish his story thanks to him. Doja reads further messages and still can't believe that TWSA won a contest. He believes the author didn't want to elaborate on it further as he must be embarrassed. Doja soon receives a notification, and he wonders what could be in the present. He thinks a gift card of $50 would be great. He checks the email and sees that the present has come. The mail tells him that TWSA will become a paid content from 7 p.m. today. The author hopes that this mail will help, and wishes Doja good luck on his journey. Doja thinks that it will become paid content in 5 minutes. He thinks about checking the novel online quickly. However, when he searches the novel's name, he doesn't find anything. He wonders if they removed it without any prior notice. Suddenly, everything becomes dark inside the train. Doja and Yu look up and wonder what happened to the lights. Suddenly the train applies the brakes heavily, leaving the passenger inside panicked and horrified. They wonder what is happening suddenly, and if this is a terrorist attack. Everyone holds onto the train for their dear life, while praying to God. Soon enough, the train comes to a halt. Doja asks Yu if she's all right. Yu grabs Doja's arm and asks what's happening. Doja tries to comfort her and says it must be nothing big of an issue. Doja keeps his gaze fixed on the phone and sees that the time has finally hit 7 p.m. He thinks that it's 7 p.m., so the content should have become paid. Suddenly, the broadcaster tells everyone to pay attention. He gives the order to evacuate quickly. Yu asks what's going on and why there's an emergency broadcast on the train. Doja looks forward and sees a dazzling light in front. He covers his eyes from the light to see what's in front. Suddenly, a voice comes from the light, stating that the free service of the 8612th planetary system has come to an end. The main scenario will begin now. It was at this moment that Doja's genre of life was changed.